people who are getting sales and doing well have been put in standard, and people who are getting no sales and just started have been put in premium,
Yeah.
which is backwards. And it made me think, why? What, like,
Welcome to another episode of Print on Demand Wisdom. Today we've got Shimmy Morris with us, and in case you don't know him, he's a fellow print on demand seller. He's also got a YouTube channel which will be linked in the description, and he's been one of the biggest voices against Redbubble, which will be the main topic of this podcast today. Hey Shimmy, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on the podcast.
yeah, it's great. It's really good to be here. Like, any excuse to talk about Redbubble, I'm there, as you can tell from my YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm excited. So let's get
Yeah,
into it.
right. Let's jump straight into it then with a good question. Why do you think people should stop using Redbubble?
Okay, how much time do we have? um, well, to be honest, the main reason why I personally think people shouldn't use Redbubble is because of the quality. Not the tiers, not the prices, nothing like that, but just the quality. When you're selling a product to someone, you have to kind of do your due diligence in terms of what are they getting. So it's not just about you. Yes, let's say you can sell $1,000 worth of Redbubble products a month. That's amazing. You're getting so much money. But then what's your customer getting? Are they happy? Are they feeling screwed over? Technically, it's not you, it's Redbubble, but you are facilitating by using Redbubble.
Mm.
So when I did like a quality test review, I was just in such shock. I mean, I like their stickers, but I've found that their stickers have gone downhill as well. But just in terms of their t-shirts and their hoodies and their sweaters, it's just simply not good enough. And I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but from what I've seen, Redbubble is the most expensive print-on-demand platform out there in terms of a base price. I think it's like 17 or 18 pounds in the UK for a blank t-shirt, or sorry, a t-shirt, then you put your design on it,
Mm.
and then you need a markup. So let's say you sell it for 22 to 25 pounds or dollars. That's a really, really expensive t-shirt. I mean, you can go to Zara or many other places and buy good quality clothing that will last for years and years. But with Redbubble, I just found with that pricing, they were selling clothes that would maybe last one or two washes, maybe three washes if you're lucky, which is not okay. I mean, that's wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And for anyone who is hearing about this for the first time, Shimmy does have multiple videos actually testing this. How many different companies did you order from to compare?
Um, oh, I don't know. I've done quite a
It was
lot
quite a
now. I
few,
think
wasn't it? It was,
I've probably done like 12 to 15 different companies. I mean, I've got a video coming out in the next few months. It's just taking me a long time because it's like 50 companies and
oh,
it's everyone.
yeah.
But I've been planning it for like 2 months. It's just taking me ages to sit down and be like, okay, I want to go do this now
Yeah,
because I know
yeah.
it'll take so many hours. But yeah, I ordered from like probably around 15 companies. In all fairness, 90% or 95% of print-on-demand companies don't do very well when it comes to quality.
Yeah.
There are a couple of outliers, but the reason why Redbubble stood out is because they charge so much.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and
So
the
would
quality
you
was
say
particularly bad.
they're one of the worst print qualities and they charge the most? Is that
So
what?
I wouldn't say they're one of the worst print qualities. There's definitely worse,
Yeah.
but like there was worse, and they were $12 or £12, right? This we're talking 18, nearly
Yeah.
£18 here. And it's not like they were the worst because they're not. They're just not good enough.
Mm.
Like I don't know, like for example, this. I mean, I know this is different because it's embroidery, but I've had this now for 5 years, right? And it's
Yeah.
exactly the same as when I first bought it. Maybe it's the jumper's faded a tiny bit, but like I have t-shirts that I've had for over 10 years that I bought from a high street shop, whereas nothing from Redbubble has lasted more than three washes. And I've ordered probably 30 items from Redbubble and nothing has lasted more than three washes.
Oh, wow.
Before either the t-shirt, and it's not just the design. The t-shirt can reshape, like kind of resizes. Not it doesn't get smaller or bigger, but it kind of skews in a way.
Mm.
It goes off in a way, and I don't know how to say that, but like the sizing becomes all off with the sleeves and the seams and
Distorted. Yeah.
everything.
So that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
main reasons why you think people should stop using Redbubble then. Is there any other reasons? Because obviously there has been a lot going on recently.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, they recently introduced these tiers, standard, premium, and pro. And at first, I thought that's actually not a bad idea. That's what Amazon's done. It's worked. Then I looked into it and I realized how they've done it is really bad. So, for example, with Amazon, if you don't sell something in 90 days, it gets removed, right? Automatically. And that's kind of how they like not quality control, but that's kind of how they control the number of t-shirts on their platform. If something's not selling, we remove it. Makes perfect sense. With Redbubble, instead of introducing something like that, they've introduced these tiers. So with standard, you've got standard is basically exactly the same as what you currently have now. All the same features. The only difference is you now have a fee between 25 and 50% of what you sell. So if you sell $10 worth, you're giving up $4.50, I think it is. Yep. And then if you're selling $500, you're giving up like $91 or $92. Can't remember the exact number. Which is, yeah, I mean, that's a significant amount of money for sellers who already are struggling to get any sales. And then the few sales they do get, they're now losing almost half of their earnings, which is a bit of a slap in the face, considering that Redbubble are already charging so much money. But it's not surprising because, I mean, as soon as you look at their share price or look at the Google Trends data, you'll see they went up in COVID and now they're just slowly declining. Their share price is lower than it's ever been before. They're basically a penny stock now, and it's only going down. So I think they're just kind of clawing, like trying to get back up and trying to recoup some money before an eventual liquidation of some sort.
It feels like that, yeah.
It definitely feels like that.
It's a shame because I usually would recommend Redbubble to print-on-demand beginners because the platform itself as a seller, I think, is easy enough to upload to. It's good to get used to the process of print-on-demand. And I also started on there myself back in the day and actually really liked the site. Like I got some of my first sales there. But it seems like they're making it harder and harder. And like you said, the quality concerns. Maybe that's part of the reason why their stock price is doing so bad is because they're just putting out bad products.
Yeah, and people aren't rebuying. They're not getting repeat customers. And that's the thing. I used to recommend Redbubble as well, way back when. And it made, like you said, mainly because it was completely free. It was so easy, and you could mass upload your designs and just leave them, and it would be passive income. You didn't have to do any marketing; you could just leave it. Teespring used to be like that, but then they obviously got rid of the marketplace. They changed everything and whatever. And again, that's hit them really bad. And so many people are messaging me like it's mad, saying, I won't use Redbubble, but give me an alternative. And I am struggling to find an alternative. So I've got another video coming out comparing every single marketplace print-on-demand site. So you've got like Redbubble, Etsy, but then you've got to pay a bit. Like Teachip, Society6, Zazzle, all these kind of platforms. Which one is actually good? And if I'm being honest, they all suck. I really want to start one myself. I want to create a business, and I've been planning it for like a long time, probably years now. Yeah, I've been planning for a long time, and just creating a print-on-demand site that has a marketplace that works for you, the sellers. Obviously it's got good quality for the buyers as well, but it's got sellers in mind. So cheap products, good marketing, all of that. And I've got the audience I can market this site to. I know I'd get tons of sellers signed up, but the logistics behind it is insane. Like you're talking warehouses, printers, employees, like it's a huge project. Yeah, I would need funding. It would need to be funded. We're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds, millions probably.
Just to get started, yeah.
But I know it would do well though, because there is no competition for a good print-on-demand site.
You've got a lot of examples of how not to do it, haven't you? So
yeah, literally.
It's kind of like Google was not the first search engine. There was more search engines before Google. They just did it better, and that's why they're so good now.
Perfected it. Yeah, I would literally just see, and again, because I've got this audience and I'm friendly with other YouTubers who've also got big audiences, I can do such good market research and find out what sellers actually want, and just make what they want. So if I get comments being like, can you please change this on your website? Can you add this? I can be like, yeah, sure, did it, done for you, ready to go. And it's like, but with these big companies, it's impossible to speak to someone at Redbubble. Absolutely impossible. And with any of these companies, it's impossible to speak to anyone. And so in my mind, it just makes the most sense. But I also know, like, I don't even know where to begin. It's such a big business.
It is, yeah. I wouldn't say that all companies are terrible. Like there is some alternatives, but we'll get into that later on in the video for anyone who's wondering. What have you heard from people in terms of which tier they're getting assigned in relation to their sales or their shop, how long they've been selling on Redbubble? Have you heard anything?
This is what my video is going to be about on Monday.
Yeah.
It's going to be about how you get tiered, and what reasons put you in a tier. And a lot of my research has led to people who are getting sales and doing well have been put in standard, and people who are getting no sales and just started have been put in premium.
Yeah.
Which is backwards, and it made me think, why? What? This makes no sense. But it didn't take long to realize that someone who's getting no sales, there's no point placing them in standard because they're not making any money for Redbubble. They're not making any money for themselves. So if they did that and they put everyone who wasn't getting sales in standard, it wouldn't actually change Redbubble's bottom line one bit. It would just, annoy a lot of people. But by putting people who are getting sales in standard, someone who's getting a few $100s every single month, Redbubble are now making a bit more money. So I think that's a huge factor. I think original artwork is a big factor as well. So people who had original artwork seems to be putting in premium. However, there have been quite a few cases of someone with original artwork and sales still put in standard. So it's really hard. It seems like it's very random, but it also seems like Redbubble are kind of being a bit sneaky and just trying to make some more money. And they know that they can only make money from their high selling sellers. In the standard account, it tells you how much you get charged up to $500, and then it's like 90 something dollars. So there's this theory that if you're making over $500 a month, you'll automatically go into premium. I don't know if that's true. It'll be interesting to see. But then, like, how many people are making $500 a month? That's $6,000 a year from Redbubble.
Yeah, probably not a lot on Redbubble.
No, that's not a lot. And if they are, they're probably well connected within Redbubble's network, so they can speak to someone to the point where if they're putting standard, they would probably just be like, I'm going to take all my stuff down if you don't put me up in premium. And they'd probably have that kind of sway. But yeah, at the moment, it just seems like Redbubble are being very sneaky with how they're doing it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I've only heard of one person who's getting sales regularly and doing really well on Redbubble who is in premium, and that's Juna. And he deservedly so. I mean, his designs are amazing, and he doesn't deserve to be in standard. But for the most part, I've only heard of people getting sales being in standard, and like you said, new sellers, with even people with literally 0 sales, 3 designs.
But remember, Juna's also got the audience. So is it because of his unique artwork? Is it because of his sales? Or is it because of his audience? Or is it the combination of all three? 99% of people don't have audience. Juna's got 30-something thousand on Instagram, 80-something thousand on YouTube. People don't have those audiences, and they can't be expected to have those audiences. The reason you upload to Redbubble is because of their integrated marketplace. But one of their criteria is if you're in standard, promote it on your own, send your own traffic, and maybe we'll put you up premium. But that's not the reason you go to Redbubble. Otherwise, you would go, if you're going to promote it yourself, you'd go somewhere where the profit margins are much better, like a Shopify store, or maybe even a Teespring store, or like a Spreadshop store, where you're going to promote it yourself, but you're going to make triple the amount of money.
I agree.
There's no margin there for you to also promote it. You're making pennies, literally pennies, maybe $1.50 or something on a $25 sale. So there's just no room to promote it.
Yeah, it all seems a bit backwards, and like there's literally next to no benefits for sellers with all of these updates. So touching on that then, what do you think, or how do you think this update will affect the future of Redbubble? Like, will it be a good outcome for them or bad outcome? What do you think?
So I can see the argument from both sides. A lot of people are saying this is great because it's going to weed out all the spammers, all the rubbish, all the terrible artists, which I see. But then I think they should have just taken the approach of Amazon, where they just auto-delete stuff that does not selling after 60 days or 90 days. That would have done the same thing and probably cleared up a lot more people. So I'm not sure, because you've got like real artists who are on standard who are going to leave, so they're going to lose a lot of real artists. And then you've got the spammers who would upload thousands of designs a month automatically, who are still going to do it because it doesn't take any of their time. It's all automated to upload 1,000 designs a month. However they're doing it, and they're tag spamming and doing all that stuff. yes, they're now losing nearly half of their profits, but it's not like they're putting any extra effort in. They're still doing no work. It's all automated. So obviously they're going to just keep it going because maybe they're not making $100, maybe they're only making 50, but it's still $53. They'll lose the people who are actually trying, who are putting hours in, who now aren't getting very much money. So I think because of that, what will happen actually, it will be an opposite effect of what everyone's thinking, and Redbubble will just become a platform of a few high quality designers like Juno, but then 99% of spammers, just full on spammers, to the point where I do think Redbubble will eventually just disappear. Like, it will just die.
They're almost, it seems like they're almost accelerating it. Like, yeah, a short-term cash grab on the one hand.
Yeah, literally.
But in the long term, it seems like they're making it, yeah, like you said, anyone who wants to actually put time into it, it's put your time into something else.
Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with Teachip, because obviously it's the same company.
TeePublic, do you mean?
Sorry, TeePublic, I mean, sorry, TeePublic. If they do the same thing, if they introduce these fees, because a part of me thinks that they won't, because Redbubble is a public company, it has a board, and people on the board probably don't understand print on demand or print on demand sellers, so they're like, we need more money. This is what we're going to do, right? For all we know, I mean, the CEO has done a terrible job since he's joined, but for all we know, people at Redbubble are like, no, this is really bad, don't do this. Whereas with TeePublic, that's not a public company, so I think it's just a subsidiary of Redbubble, so I don't think it's considered public, but I could be wrong. So I think that's got a lot more control by the actual owners of TeePublic.
Right, yeah, there is.
They'll do that.
There is some fishy things going on TeePublic as well, with support not being very responsive, and you sometimes
that's just print on demand for you.
Yeah, your shop being closed for no reason. But yeah, I hope it doesn't come to TeePublic as well, because I'm actually making quite a lot more sales on TeePublic than Redbubble. And that would be a shame if they just put everyone into a tier as well with fees. I mean, it's possible, but like you said, maybe there's not the pressure, and maybe they're not doing as bad compared to Redbubble. We don't know, do we?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all private, those numbers, so we have absolutely no idea how they're doing.
Whilst we're talking about TeePublic, do you have any platforms to recommend to people to sell on alternatively to Redbubble? I know you're going to make a video about this, but do you have any, like, a couple of ideas?
So, I mean, I like what you said before. There are other good platforms. I'm quite negative when it comes to this, because I always just go down the route of so many platforms crap. But you're right. There are good platforms out there. I just got to be more positive with it. But I think Etsy's good, especially if you know what you're doing. And the whole 20-cent fee to list. Yeah, it's annoying, but you can get 40 free listings if you find an affiliate, and they're all over the place. And you can probably get them on Etsy as well. People have listings, giving away their listings. So
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
yeah, but there are listings where you like get 40 free listings. Just click here and I'll send you the code or the link. Not code, just the link. Because for them, they also get 40 free listings, so it's a win-win. So Etsy's solid. What else? You've got, this is a weird one, but I think eBay. I think eBay with Printful's a solid shout as well. And then Amazon FBA, obviously. But then also, sorry, Amazon merch, obviously, but then also Amazon fulfillment
FBM.
with Printful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some solid platforms. You've got other platforms like, I've heard good things of Zazzle. I've heard good things of TeePublic. There are a few like that. But in all fairness, I think if you really want to make it big, besides merch on demand, besides Amazon merch on demand, where you can, if you get there, you can be making 10 grand a month. Besides that, it's going to be about having it on your own site and doing marketing, building up a social media following, learning, forget learning how to design, forget learning, how to do print on demand, just learn how to market, learn how to create an ad, a successful one, learn how to post on TikTok and Facebook and all of that.
Yeah, that's what you specialize in, isn't it?
Yeah, if you could master the art of marketing, I mean, yeah, print on demand, you can sell print on demand, but you can sell anything, like literally anything. So that, I mean, that's what I would say. I would say if you can afford it, focus on your own site and do it like that, and actually build up a company, a clothing company like that way.
It's definitely, like, if you master that, I would say, yeah, that's definitely more potential. And you learn a lot more.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's also, I think most people don't want that struggle, because it is going to be a lot harder to get that to actually, sell like a few £1,000s a month, I think.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Well, actually, you say that, but then if you're doing it yourself and you're doing it right, it'll be easier to get to a few thousand a month. But it's the first couple of sales, it's learning how to do it. Whereas listing on a site that has it all done for you, I think it'll take longer to get to a few thousand, but it will start quicker. So you'll get sales at the beginning quicker, but it'll be a slower growth. Whereas as soon as you know how to get a sale on your own website, you just double down, triple down, keep going, and you'll scale it like crazy.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good point. I wouldn't have expected you to suggest that, but yeah, it's something to look into. Would you say that requires quite a bit more budget then? Because obviously one of the draws to print on demand is it's free for the most part. Do you need marketing budget to burn through to do like the testing or getting to know how it works sort of thing?
Yeah, that's the thing. I like to try and promote it as well because it's free to start and anyone can start it. And I always will. And if you want to do it for free, that's fine. I just say it will take a lot longer with social media and all of that. If you do have a budget of like, let's say $500 or $1,000, it just does become easier because you'll be able to test hundreds of different ads, see what works, and then as soon as one works, you double down on it, you recoup all the ad spend that you've done already, and then you start making profit, and then you just scale. Like with anything, if you start with money, it is easier. It's always easy to like rich people get richer. It's always easy to make money if you have money. If you have nothing, it's always going to be really, really hard.
I agree with you for the most part, but it depends. Like if you're born rich and you just have it all, you don't have any of the skills, you don't
No,
really
that's true. That's true. But
that.
then
Yeah.
even then, if you're born rich, let's say you're given £1 million when you turn 18 as a trust fund, put that all into a high interest account or into S&P 500 or into crypto, and I'm making lots of money now, and I'm not. It was easy.
But if you lost it, you wouldn't have any skills because you didn't have to get
Yes,
£1 million.
that is true. No, that is true. That is
So
true.
yeah, it's a massive benefit and it makes it easier to make money. But on the other hand, you kind of lose out on some of the learning
Yeah,
experience. A
the
lot of
life skills and all that kind of stuff. 100%. Yeah, I always recommend courses and education, and I like that. I'm a true advocate of like, especially like something like Skillshare or
yeah.
Masterclass, where you don't have to spend $1,000 on a course, but you can get some good education, learn some new skills. That's how I learned, Premiere Pro back in the day. It's how I learned most of the stuff that I know, and I always recommend that.
Yeah, I learned Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop on there as well. That's pretty interesting. I think you've got some videos on there as well, haven't you? Or courses on Skillshare, I think.
I've got my print on demand course on there. Funnily enough, a Skillshare actually reached out to me last week or 2 weeks ago asking if I would do a sponsorship with them. Um,
That's
I did a sponsorship with them like a year ago, and then like only for like 3 months, and then I stopped it, and now they've asked again. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons I put my course on there so that I could tell people to go and take it, and it's a month free, so they can just go and take it for a month. But yeah, I do like Skillshare. It makes a lot of sense. I've got like a basic version of my course there, and then the other course, it's only $10 anyways, so it's not exactly expensive. But I'm actually going to be stopping that course very soon, in the next few months. I've got hopefully something very big in the works. Not like a $1,000 course or anything, but like I've got something big planned in the works, and
mhm.
I won't want to have both. I'm just going to have one, which will have the course in it in a way.
Okay,
Um,
makes sense.
but yeah, I'll announce that hopefully near the time.
Okay. To bring it back to marketing then, because you said that's a very important part or a very important skill to master if you want to
Mm.
um, accelerate your growth in a sense. What are some good free and paid methods in your opinion then for people to market their products?
So the classics like YouTube Shorts at the moment, super good for free. Instagram Reels, TikTok, Pinterest is always good. Twitter's good as well. LinkedIn is quite good. Just the normal social media platforms, and then for paid, TikTok ads are blowing up at the moment, so I highly recommend those. Like really, really blowing up. If you know how to do, or if you learn how to do Google ads, that's huge as well, because you get some really cheap Google ads. And people are literally searching for, let's say, a cat coffee t-shirt. They search Google for it. If you're showing up at the top there with an ad, you're probably going to get some sort of a sale if your price is good and your design is good. So Google Ads is great, TikTok Ads is great. And then one thing that I thought of, well, a friend actually told me about it. He had a great idea. He said, rather than pay for like Instagram ads or TikTok ads, post tons of content, and then the reel that pops off, or the short that pops off, or the TikTok that pops off, upload it as an ad, because it's proven.
Yeah.
You know, it clearly works, and now upload it as an ad. It will definitely work as an ad, and you'll pay very little for clicks because it will be high converting, and you'll probably make a lot of sales.
That's a good strategy. Yeah. If it's organically working, it will work good as a paid ad. So when you say with the free options, because I know a lot of people will be interested in that, when you say shorts and TikTok and that sort of stuff, what do you mean? Do you mean like posting video mock-ups of your designs? Do you mean like, what's the idea with the content that people should post?
So I think it's more about the niche in general and not the designs. Like, it's all about soft selling. So I wouldn't spam an Instagram account with all my designs and mock-ups and mock-up videos. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. But if let's say I've got like a dog niche, I would do dog videos and like generic things that have no relation to a t-shirt. When someone comes to look at my page, they're not like, oh, this person sells t-shirts. They don't know. They just think, oh, viral content. But they clearly like dogs if they're going to be following and liking and engaging. And then every so often, I'll post a t-shirt, or I'll post an ad to a t-shirt, and I'll have obviously the link in my bio. And it'll be a much softer sell, but I think it's with that kind of content, it takes longer, which is why I said if you have got money, it's quicker, but it takes longer. But the growth is much bigger. Like I don't think there's only like 2 Instagram accounts that I follow solely, and they're solely a fashion brand. And that's just because I like the companies, right? But you're not going to get that print on demand. You're never going to get that print on demand because it's random. It's not like a company, you know. There's no story there. It's someone who's just designed something and wanted to sell it. So you need to make the story there. You need to give a reason to follow, and the reason to follow would be, oh, that's such a cute dog running through the fields. Oh, that's so cute. That's going to go viral. I'm going to like it, whatever. And then maybe the first comment in the description is, get this dog on a t-shirt, you know, or maybe it's like, get your dog on a t-shirt, and then it's like it leads to a personalized website where you can get your own prints of your own dog, something like that, where you've got to kind of think outside the box. The only way it doesn't work so well is if you've got if you're selling like cycling and dogs and mum and dads and Father's Day and then Halloween, and you don't really have a niche. Then creating an Instagram account, your content is so random. There it doesn't really work so well. It's much harder. Which is why theme pages, like Instagram theme pages, Facebook theme pages, are, I think, the way to go with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very good advice, I think, because people on social media, they're not there to buy stuff, are they? They're there to be entertained. Well, if you think about your own behavior, if you've ever been on social media, you follow pages that directly suit your interests, not a page that has a random lot of everything. And then if most of the posts are just entertainment, like you said, there's a link every now and then in the comments, or maybe a story post that links to products, then some people, maybe like 1% of the audience, but some people would potentially be interested in buying something that's related to that same niche. So it's definitely a good way to go about it. And
it's a much slower approach, which is why I also always recommend people don't quit their day jobs to do print on demand. Print on demand is very much a side hustle until it can become a full business. But like, for some people, print on demand is a full business, but they're people who have been doing it for a long time and making a lot of money from it. But if you're just starting, especially now, and it's definitely a lot harder, you know, focus 2 hours a day on it, and don't start with designs. Start with building a fan page. Start with building social media. Forget the designs. And that's another thing. If you've got the fan page, you don't just have to think of print on demand. You can sell anything. If you've got a dog fan page, you can sell dog t-shirts, but you can also start selling there's dog scratchers and the ball throwing things, and you can just have a drop shipping company as well as so you have so much more. So it makes it's funny because a lot of people, they want to start print on demand. Like, I want to start print on demand. I'm like, forget print on demand, build social media, and then start whatever you want. Print on demand, drop shipping, literally anything. I mean, the amount of big pages that I've seen that are like a travel page or this page or that page that have nothing to do with social media will create a course on how to do social media, how to grow an Instagram page. And that's like not their niche at all.
Yeah.
But because they have the audience there, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, the audience is the value, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just a lot of people don't want that. They just want to create t-shirts and sell those t-shirts, which is fair. I understand that. I just will always say don't expect to be making tons of money from it. That's all, you know.
Yeah. Well, if anyone does want to do that, just to give you some hope, I don't have a clue about marketing, or well, I've never marketed my t-shirts, let's say. I've tried some things with paying for ads. Actually, I think through some of your tutorials as well, but I've never really put much money or time into it. I just don't enjoy it. I enjoy designing and the whole other process of print on demand. And I have got to this point, but like you said, it's taken a long time. It's not.
What's your biggest platform?
It's Amazon merch, after that Etsy, but some of the secondary marketplaces like TeePublic have done well for me as well. So, but yeah, if you want money quickly, I think most businesses are not going to be a good idea. So if you need money,
you notice a trend though? It's funny. Do you notice a trend of how a lot of the big print on demand sellers and a lot of the YouTubers for that reason as well is their first go-to place is merch on demand.
Yeah,
it's always merch on demand, but so many people can't actually get access to merch on demand, which is such a shame. But like Ryan, you, Juna, me, it's always what is the core of your print on demand business? Amazon, and then we've got Etsy and all these other little ones, but it's Amazon, which is funny because it's so out of someone's control whether or not they can sell on Amazon. So I like recommending Amazon on my YouTube channel so much because I like recommending something that you have control of. So when I say Etsy, I'm like, anyone can sell on Etsy. Yeah, you might get your account banned if you do something wrong, but anyone can sign up. Or anyone can sign up to Zazzle. Anyone can sign up to any of these. So I'm trying to get rid of all the barriers. But I agree, merch on demand is the best. I mean, Amazon get billions of visitors a month. People make tens of thousands a month on Amazon. So and also if you're selling on merch on demand, you can segue into FBA and build like a big business if you wanted to as well. There's just a lot there. And that's what I did. I built an FBA business. I got stuff in from China, sent it off to Amazon, and that was way bigger than my print on demand. That made way more money because it was like a proper legitimate business. But I find it funny. Everyone's go-to is always merch on demand.
Yeah, that's true. The potential is definitely highest there, but it is harder to get in. That's not to say that you can get in. Like I have done polls on YouTube, and there is people that say they've gotten in this year or last year, so it's not impossible. It just seems to be harder than it used to be back in the day for us, maybe. But yeah, Etsy also has quite high potential. Like you're saying before, with Redbubble, not a lot of people are going to be making tons of money on Redbubble. But on Etsy, there is a ton of potential, I think, to get to higher numbers as well if you don't get into Amazon merch. So that's the good point with the freedom there, that it's easier to get into. So speaking of beginners, new people getting into print on demand, what are some common mistakes that you see people make?
I think a big one is consistency. So you have high hopes when you get into print on demand, and then reality comes crashing down, and you don't make as much as you wanted to, or sometimes you make nothing, especially at the beginning. So I would say, just like anything really, any business, YouTube as well, you got to be consistent. Create designs, upload designs, create designs, upload designs, share those designs, but be consistent. Get into a habit. That's the first thing. The second thing I've noticed, and not in a mean way, but a lot of people's designs are bad and they think they're good. They're like, yeah, this is great. And it's called, well, I kind of coined it as like, don't fall in love with your designs. You know, you create a design, and because you designed it, you're like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. What's the saying? This is the best thing since breaded butter or spreaded toast or something, or buttered toast. I don't know.
Okay.
Definitely a saying there.
Yeah.
But people are like, okay, this is amazing. This is the best design ever. They upload it, and then it obviously fails. So you always need to kind of get some affirmation for your design. So send it to some family, send it to some friends. Don't be scared of people ripping you off, because like there's millions of designs online, and I guarantee you your design probably isn't that unique. So don't be worried about that. But what you should be worried about is your design good? Is your fonts good? Does your font match your graphic? Does your graphic match your graphic? Does your font, are there too many colors? Like you want to keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and you want to make sure people actually like it before you, like I've had people who have created a design, put money into ads, it hasn't got any sales, but continue dunking money into ads because they're like, no, 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 I believe in it, I believe in it, I believe in it. I was like, you're $50 down now. You're not getting any sales. This design is terrible. Drop it. And they're like, no, 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 it will get. I was like, it's not going to get any sales.
Yeah.
So I think people need to work on the designs a bit more, and don't overthink it. Like you could just literally have text, just one word. The word boring could get sales. You never know. Just look on platforms that I use pretty much, but like use any platform to see what's doing well, and you kind of get like you can draw some similarities between all the designs that are doing well. So yeah, bad designs, not being consistent, expecting a lot.
And just to interject there, it's totally natural if you're starting out and you don't have a design background that your designs are going to be bad at first. Like
yeah, for sure. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
And they will get better. But if your first 10 designs don't do well, that doesn't mean you'll completely fail at print on demand. It's the giving up part. That's when you're failing. You can get to a point where they look a lot better if you keep learning.
Yeah, I've had the saying that you don't by not getting results isn't failing. You only fail when you stop trying, because then you've literally ended it. But if you keep trying and then you have like these mini fails until you succeed, they've never been fails, they've just been lessons. But if you do decide to stop, then that fail became an actual fail. But then there's lots of people like Ryan Hogue, for example. He'll say this. He's not a designer. He's not like this wizard with creating these graphical masterpieces like Juno is. A lot of his stuff is very basic, lots of text-based designs, and he does really, really well. And majority of my biggest designs are like 4 words, no graphics. So sometimes it's more about the message. So think of like metaphors and puns and jokes and funny sayings, and use ChatGPT, because even though people are hating on it with creativity and stuff, it really does help.
And it's the niche as well, because like if you enter the dog niche, you can be the best designer in the world. You're probably not going to get any sales, are you?
It's unless
you're really good at marketing. But if you have a good niche that's low competition, you can do it. An average design, just some text-based stuff, because the niche is underserved and there's demand. You'll have a way easier time. So that's a big part of it as well, I think. And I think that a lot of beginners get wrong is just picking highly competitive niches.
Well, that's the thing. They go into, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do dogs, I'm going to do cats, I'm going to make so much money because everyone else is. No, everyone else is now. You're too late. You've got to kind of think outside the box. Like I think a good one now is something like cycling. Cycling is really picking up. It's getting really popular. We're heading into the summer now. A lot more people are cycling. It's not as popular as like dogs and cats, but it's a type of t-shirt where it's very wearable. Someone who likes cycling will wear a funny cycling t-shirt on their days off, on the way to their rides, after their rides. It's like a good, easy t-shirt designed to sell. And it's evergreen. So stuff like think outside the box. Look at what's trending. Look at what's going up at the moment. Like boxing is getting very big at the moment. Obviously, boxing has been big for a while, but it's getting much bigger. Look at what's like happening, and kind of go in those directions.
And go deeper into the topic as well. Like cycling, your example I think is good, because there's a lot of sub niches to cycling, different types of cycling. That people are really into, and if you fill those sub niches out, like I sell some designs in cycling as well, and they're not a broad I love to cycle design. They're usually within those sub niches, topics that people are really passionate about.
That's the beauty of ChatGPT. If you don't know anything about cycling, you just have to ask ChatGPT, and it will tell you all about MTBing and road biking and gravel biking and motorbikes and the TT races and all these different things, and you'll very quickly become an expert in cycling to the point where you're like, I know this audience, I know exactly what they want, and I'm going to create all these designs. That's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that leads into my final question as well for today, which is, what are your thoughts on all of the new AI tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney and their impact on print on demand?
Oh, that's a good question. So ChatGPT, I think, is a bit different because it doesn't give you designs; it gives you ideas.
Yeah.
It doesn't make art. The issue with like Midjourney and Leonard and Adobe and all these other ones is you're relying on their artwork. So someone who's not a good artist or who can't create designs is like, I'm now going to create a masterpiece and sell it. But what they're missing the point, because print on demand isn't about creating a masterpiece and selling it. Sometimes you just need a good t-shirt with a good pun and maybe one simple graphic, like a bike with a good pun on it, whatever. And that's all you need. But with these AI, you're creating these crazy graphics and it's unnecessary. As well as that, I also don't know the legalities of using some of them for commercial rights and stuff. I haven't fully looked into, because I would personally never use AI as a whole for the design. What I would potentially do is use like Midjourney to build an element of a design. So let's say I'm making a design about kids going back to school and I like the dinosaur with the books and that whole kind of vibe. I'll say to Midjourney, create me a cute kid dinosaur holding a bunch of books, right? And then it will create that element. Then I'll take that element and I'll be like, okay, I like that. I'm going to redraw it and make it my own, maybe my own colors, change things about a bit, maybe put a backpack on them. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of text, the text for the design. So I'll do that. But what I won't do is kind of say to Midjourney, create me a t-shirt design in this, download it, slap it on a t-shirt and go sell it. Like I'll never do that. And I don't think anyone should do that. But I think you can, let's say you're building a t-shirt design and you need a good bike and you just can't find the graphic on Vexels. You can't find the graphic on Google anywhere. Yeah, fine. Use Midjourney to create you a little bicycle graphic.
Yeah.
Why not? If you can't physically draw yourself, you don't have access to like Photoshop or Illustrator or Procreate, and you need a vector of something, create me a vector of a bicycle. Cool, use that. But I don't think I would ever use it, or I don't think anyone should use it for like full on copy paste designs.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I'm just for some background, like I'm somewhere in the middle between Ryan and Juna, where I am a designer at heart, but I'm not as good as Juna. So I've done this same thing that you've just suggested as well, where I didn't find, because I've got quite a small niche, I didn't find a good pre-made graphic on Vexels, Creative Fabrica. So I just used Midjourney for that part, and I edited the graphic, put the text around it for the niche, and I'm now getting sales with that. So it's definitely a good tool to aid in your process, but just using the graphics probably doesn't have a good ROI, because it's just a graphic, no text.
I'm the exact same as well. I'm not as good as Juna, and I'm like a bit better than Ryan in terms of graphic design and art. Like Juna's been a graphic designer for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But so I think I'm very similar to you. I think I'm bang in the middle where I can create the designs, but if I want it to be good, it's going to take me hours. I can't do it quickly. So I'll just use Midjourney to aid it really, and to not necessarily give me the ideas, but to give me something to copy or amend or edit. But yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. I love photography. I love art. I've been doing it my whole life, but I've never really sat down and learned like the mechanics of drawing a cartoon dinosaur or drawing cartoon animals. Whereas I think like Juno studied this. So he just knows how to do it. I reckon if I put a few hours in every single day for a couple of months, I would be able to. But I just don't think it's worth my time. I think you don't need to be as good as Juna to succeed with print on demand.
I agree. Yeah,
it's just much easier than that.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, that was some very interesting thoughts. I think a lot of good lessons as well for beginners, and really interesting to hear your take on the whole Redbubble situation and some of your further research, which, like you mentioned, will be in a video on Monday. So I will leave a link to that video in the description once it's out, so people can check you out. And you said you've got some big things coming in the future for people. So where will they hear about that first?
Well, I've got a website called the printondemandhub.net, where it's an empty site, but you could put you put your email in to be notified. But it's still like a good 2 months away because I'm slowly building it. I've got quite a lot of people on the scene trying to help. But as soon as it's done, I'll just post on my YouTube channel. So, go check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll be the first to get those updates if you want.
Yeah, and I recommend anyone who doesn't know Shimmy yet to check out the channel, because the videos are really high quality, really high production quality, editing, everything. So definitely really helpful and good quality content. Thanks a lot for coming on the podcast. It was nice to have you, and speak to you later.
Amazing. Thanks for having me. Anytime.